They told you change takes time, years, effort, sacrifice. But the truth, one night of brutal honesty can collapse the entire system holding you captive. This isn't motivation. This is a warning. Don't sleep on the only night that matters, the silent scream in your bones, the shadow whispering that your life is no longer your own. Every night lost to comfort, every breath wasted on someone else's script. These have been chains forged in mediocrity, hammered by your own hesitation. Society taught you that obedience is survival, that usefulness is virtue. They lied. Beneath the mask of productivity lies a prison, subtle as wind, strong as stone, built not from iron, but expectation. Yet here, in the dark fire of solitude, you've glimpsed Tarantino's blade, brutal raw authenticity that can slice through illusion. Tonight, armed only with pen and courage, you face truths sharper than any sword. For beyond your personal battle waits a deeper rebellion. The ties revealed that the true enemy isn't fear or failure, but the very notion of living only to serve. What happens when you dare to choose chaos over compliance, freedom over fear? Take a breath. Step forward, because this awakening is only your first rebellion. This is the hour the silence begins to rot, not with peace, but with pressure. A pressure that has waited patiently behind every excuse, every delay, every ritual of avoidance you've wrapped around your fear. The notebook glares like a blade in the dark. You were never waiting for the right time. You were hiding from the mirror. And now the mirror cracks, because tonight, for the first time, you stop blaming the script and start questioning why you ever accepted the role. You're not here to decorate a prison cell with positive thoughts. You're here to burn the damn thing down. Tarantino's truth cuts through you. You are the editor, the screenwriter, the lone survivor of your own wasted war. And now the page waits. Blank, breathless, brutal. What you write next isn't just a confession. It's a declaration of war. They told you your story was fixed, written by bloodlines, bank accounts, job titles, that your path was a narrow road lined with approvals and deadlines, guarded by the expectations of those who never dared to live. But Tarantino shattered that lie. He built his myth from the ruins. No mentors, no map, no permission slip, just obsession and raw defiance. And here's the secret. Your story was never supposed to be clean. It was meant to bleed. The power was never in perfect planning. It was in the decision to reject the script, to throw out the pages and write your name in the margins. Because the true crime is not failure. It's betrayal. Betrayal of the self. Betrayal of the voice you keep silencing. Pick up the pen, not to polish a resume, but to write a resurrection. But the pen alone is not enough. Not when the ink you write with is still mixed with the poison of their praise. Not when every sentence you craft trembles beneath the gaze of a world that only values you when you serve. You may have escaped their script, but have you escaped their logic? The deeper war begins not on the page, but in the architecture of your beliefs. The walls they built in your mind are not made of stone. They're made of reward. And that's what must be broken next. You were taught to worship the clock, to measure your worth in output, to confuse exhaustion with virtue. They crowned busyness as king, and you bowed gladly because it felt safer to be productive than to be still. But Batate saw what they fear most, the useless moment, the breath that serves no one, the cry without a cause. He named it waste, but not as shame, as sacred rebellion, because if your soul cannot be monetized, it cannot be controlled. This is the truth that fractures the foundation. You are not a resource, you are a fire. They tried to bottle, a scream too raw for their spreadsheets, and when you stop moving, when you sit in stillness without guilt, you are not failing. You are finally free. But freedom is not found in poetry alone. It demands blood. It demands subtraction. The world taught you to chase more goals, more structure, more evidence that you matter. But what if the way forward is through loss? Through tearing down the altar where you sacrificed your spirit to productivity? If you want to escape the system, you must be willing to gut the parts of you that still crave its approval. And that begins in silence. There is a part of you they couldn't domesticate. It's wild, wasteful, unapologetically alive. The part that laughs at nothing, cries at the stars, dances without music, and disappears without explanation. Bataille called it inner experience, a sacred chaos that defies efficiency. It does not serve. It does not wait. It simply erupts. And this, paradoxically, is your most human self. You've spent years trying to contain it beneath labels, productivity hacks, and tidy ambitions. But this fire was never meant to be efficient. It was meant to burn, to flood the room, to stain the script beyond repair. True liberation isn't found in balance or discipline. It's found in collapse, in letting go of the version of you that made sense to them. Only then does the real one rise. So now the question isn't whether you'll change, it's whether you'll survive the change that's already begun. You've cracked the mirror, tasted the forbidden, torn holes in the logic that kept you obedient. But ahead lies something stranger still. A life with no map, no role, no reason except the one you choose. The world will call it madness. You'll call it return. The fallen stand at the edge of the fire. Burnt pages behind them, blank pages ahead. You have seen it all. The false god of productivity, the cult of usefulness, the velvet cage of expectation. You've held the mirror, watched it shatter, and faced the chaos reflected back. One night of brutal clarity rewrote the myth. And not with permission, but with defiance. Not with planning, but with pain. You no longer beg the world to let you live. You steal life back in full. The pen has become a blade, and every line you write in solitude is a cut through the system that once claimed your soul. This was never self-help. This was self-resurrection. The silence that once haunted you becomes holy. The stillness you fled becomes a throne because the fallen have remembered what the world begged them to forget. That purpose does not precede you. You are not here to serve the script. You are here to tear it apart and write in your own blood. This is not rebellion for its own sake. This is sacred war. A return to the wild, to the useless, to the uncontrollable core that pulses beneath your practiced smile. You are not a machine. You are the storm it fears, and in choosing collapse, you chose life. Real, untamed, unprofitable. The world will call you lost, but you know better. You've stopped performing. You've started living. So let the system shake. Let the scripts decay like ash in your breath. Let the calendars burn and the spreadsheets drown. Somewhere beyond the noise, a drum begins to beat. Slow, primal, unmeasured. It is your name whispered by the wilderness. It is your shadow finally walking free. And as the old world collapses behind you, do not look back. The night does not mourn what it consumes. It crowns it. You are not what you were. You are what survived. Rise now, fallen, not to serve, but to scorch. The dawn belongs to you. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.